All right, I'm back with a clean board, and we are now going to go into Madd-e-harfi with the category where a sukun comes after the mad. All right. So, in this category, we are going to have two different sides to it. We are going to have the temporary sukun and the permanent sukun. This refers to the sounds you'll see as we go along into it. So for the temporary sukun, you have the Leen letters. Mad, Leen. Mad, Leen. Mad, Leen, I don't remember if we covered it or not, but Mad, Leen is where you have fatha before a waw or before a ya. It'll cause a o or an a sound. Okay, so any word that falls into this category, like khawf or bait, those are Leen sounds. Now for these, it's interesting because in the temporary category, you are allowed to pull 2 times, 4 times, or 6 times, any of these 3. And whichever one you choose, you have to stick with it for the whole portion of the recitation, all right? And the same goes for the other temporary rule, which is Madd-e-Arid Lis Sukoon. Madd-e-Arid Lis Sukoon. Madd-e-Arid Lis Sukoon is where you have any word that ends with a fatha, dhamma, kasra, or a tanween, and when you stop on that word in recitation, you're going to turn it into a sukun sound. So, for example, al-babu, you are going to turn that into al-bab with a sukun on it. Or if you have a word like, let's see, nasta'een, nasta'een, you are going to pronounce it nasta'eenu will become nasta'een, right? اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. So you are going to pronounce any word that stops with a, when you stop in recitation, you're going to put that sukun, right? That's why it's called temporary. Because in Arid Lis Sukoon, you are changing that letter's tanween. Now, if you were to recite it in a continuous sentence and not stop on that word, you would have to pronounce اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Sorry, إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, right? But when you stop, you say نستعين, right? So that's the reason why it's called Arid Lis Sukoon. So this is an example of Arid Lis Sukoon, and then Leen falls into that category as well because it's a soft mud. Arid Lis Sukoon is known as temporary mud, temporary, and Leen is known as soft mud. All right. So you have this whole category which we call temporary. The permanent is going to be divided into 2 more subsections now. So you can divide permanent into Kalami and Harfi. And then each of these you can divide into Mukhaffaf and Muthaqqal. So let's do that. Mukhaffaf, and we'll leave a space for both, and then we'll do Muthaqqal. Alright, So Kalami and Harfi can both be divided into Mukhaffaf and Muthaqqal. Mukhaffaf is light and Muthaqqal is heavy. Alrighty, great. Now, let's do Kalami first. For Madd-e-Kalami, you have only one example of Mukhaffaf. So that makes it super duper easy. And these examples are found in Surah Yunus, which is Surah number 59, in verses 51 and 91. There's only one word in the whole Quran that is Madd-e-Kalami Mukhaffaf. Okay? Madd-e-Kalami Mukhaffaf. And that word is al-an. It's a question. What right now? Right? Al-an. It is written like this. Al-an. Now, Madd-e-Kalami Muthaqqal. For that one, we are going to give you these examples. Muthaqqal is like, there's so many in Juz Amma. It's like al, can you see? Yes, you can. Al-ha, qa. All right. What makes it Muthaqqal, Kalami Muthaqqal, is that after the mad you have a shadda. Or for example, in Ad-Dallin. Also, the Dad followed by the shadda on the lam. That is an example of Madd-e-Kalami Muthaqqal. Alright, so those are some examples of Madd-e-Kalami Muthaqqal. Now we're going into Madd-e-harfi. Madd-e-harfi Mukhaffaf and Muthaqqal. Madd-e-harfi means it is only in one word. Now, for this, you're going to have to separate it a little bit in there as well. Madd-e-Kalami Muthaqqal, or Madd-e-harfi Muthaqqal is going to be, the Muthaqqal is heavy, right? So we have to have a shadda on the letter. Now, when you're looking at a harf, just one letter, like noon or meme, how are you going to know whether or not it has a shadda, right? Because all of those kalamis, those actual letters, are not written with a shadda on it. So there's a special way to derive that. It's easier to tell which ones are mukhaffaf, light, because the mukhaffaf ones in a letter are going to be like, for example, like these are all huruf al-muqatta'at. Huruf al-muqatta'at are harf. Those are all the letters that that we find in the Quran. Words like they're called haytahar. Haytahar are the ones that are going to be pulled twice. So see how these two, they were both pulled 6 times? Those are kalami, right? Now we're going into harfi. And let's see if you can see it right there. Right, harfi. We're going to divide harfi in 2 different categories. The one that we're going to call haytahar, haytahar, right, is going to be pulled only 2 times. The reason is because ha, ya, ta, ha, and ra all have just 2 digits. Ha, ya, ta, ha, ra, right? H-A, or you could say ha and alif, or ya and alif, or ta and alif, or ha and alif, or ra and alif, all spell out each individual letter. Ha, or ya, ta, ha, ra. So each of these have only 2 digits in them. So this is one category of harfi. And you're going to pull all of these 2 times. Easy to remember, right? Hay, tahar. You're going to pull them 2 times. The next one is called sanaqussu lakum. That means I'm going to tell you a story. Sanaqussu lakum. Sa, na, qu, sad, sanaqussu lakum. Now, these letters, sa, na, qaf, right? If you write out seen, you're not going to say sa. Like this one was ha or ya, right? But this is seen. Sa, ya, and noon, right? Spell seen. Or noon is noon. Wow and noon spells noon. So each of these, sanaqussu lakum, any one of them, let's try kaf, kaf, alif, fa, right? So all of these have how many digits? 3 digits. So we're going to write down 3 digits. But is that how long we pull them? No. These are 3-digit ones, but we're going to pull them 6 times. Each of these are going to be pulled 6 times, right? In this category, they're going to be pulled 6 times. Sanaqussu lakum. That's the acronym for this one. There's 2 that don't fit in here, right? Because we have hay tahar, sanaqussu lakum, and then we still have 2 more letters left. And those are alif. There's no stretch. Times 0. Right? Times 0. So there's no stretch on alif, because alif is just alif, right? There isn't a mad or anything. You can't tell what it is when it's just alif. So you're just going to pronounce it alif when it is on its own. All right? When it's a harf on its own. And then the last one that we haven't covered is ayn. Now, ayn, you would say, well, wouldn't that fit into this category because it's ayn, ya, and noon? However, it has the mad leen on it. Ayn, the fatha preceding the ya. And so this one in particular, you are going to be able to pull it 4 or 6 times. The reason you can pull it 4 times is because you've got the leen sound, ayn, and you have it as the same as the leen in the far'i temporary category, right? So just like Arid Lis Sukoon, we said and leen, you can pull it 2, 4, or 6. Same way, just when you have the letter ayn, you can also pull it 4 or 6. All right. The reason that you put these into these categories now, we still haven't got them in Mukhaffaf and Muthaqqal. Now, remember here we said Muthaqqal was dependent on a shadda after the mad. So, same with harfi. When we are connecting these letters, when we're connecting all of them, and we are writing, for example, alif, lam, and mim, right? You have to look at each category separately. Now, the alif, lam, mim, does it have any muthaqqal, right? It does. It does have heavy because if you connect, let's see if we can give you an example right here. Alif, lam, mim. is a shadda? A shadda is where two letters are back to back that are the same. Do you see anything like that here? Yes, we do. The two memes. Two memes means meme shadda. So therefore, this right there, lam meme, is the harfi muthaqqal. Harfi muthaqqal. So for harfi muthaqqal, we are going to be pulling it for harfi muthaqqal, dependent on, again, these. That's how we're going to pull it. So alif won't have a pull. We're just going to say alif, and then lam. Lam falls into this category, naqussu lakum, and meme falls into this category. So then you're going to put alif, lam, meme, right? And that's how you're going to pull the whole thing. So the pull length is dependent on these acronyms and how we went through them, and whether it is muthaqqal or mukhaffaf. To be able to tell muthaqqal, you're going to look for a shadda. So for the sounds coming together, because remember when you're looking at this, you're not looking at it broken down. You're just looking at alif, lam, and meme, right? You're not going to see a shadda. You're just going to see these three letters back to back. So when you're looking at it, that's how you're going to be able to tell that it is muthaqqal. You're also going to see the mad on the lam and on the meme. So that will give you an indication as well. Now, for harafi mukhaffaf, mukhaffaf would mean that you have just the letters like noon or qaf, right? Noon or qaf. When it comes by itself and you don't have a pull with a shadda, then it's going to be mukhaffaf, right? So for example, would sad would also be another example, or ha, right? So that's when you are going to have the mukhaffaf, and muthaqqal is when you are joining and you can see the sound of the shadda. And that is all for today. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.